Hey, it's Toy. We're here at educator.com talking about Ajax and jQuery. We're still kind of in the bowels of jQuery. Now we're talking about manipulating the DOM with jQuery. Please, if you don't know what the DOM is, go back to the other lessons. Get a real good solid understanding of it, because now we're going to start doing stuff that if you don't know what the proper HTML structure is, if you kind of have a fuzzy on the DOM concepts, you're going to really mess up your page. It ain't going to be pretty. All right, so we're going to start off here with the CSS command. Now, once again, as in typical fashion of the previous lessons, I've just already pre-set up a lesson here where we have a play area. In this play area here has it's been a couple days since I've seen it, so it's kind of refreshing my brain. Has a UL with a bunch of LIs, some divs. Looks like there's a text box here, and that's on the left-hand side of the page. On the right-hand side of the page, we have a bunch of buttons to try to manipulate the left-hand play area. Okay, so let's get going. Add CSS class to sub LIs. Okay, in this particular case here, that was the previous lesson. Let's get the right lesson up here. Add CSS class to sub LIs. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start with our jQuery. Now, once again, this clear stuff here, it's here preloaded. The reason why is because we just learned how to do that in the last lesson. So I'm not going to rewrite it again. I'm just going to copy and paste. So it's going to work. Okay, and just a quick refresher. Basically, whenever I hit the clear button down here, it's going to filter through all the elements on the page and give me back all the elements on the page which has a class of orange border. And then it's going to remove that orange border. So basically clear. All right, so what are we talking about? What are we doing? We're adding a CSS class to sub LIs. So basically, you've done this before. And for some reason, it's called has, but I'm going to change that to add CSS A. Here. Okay, so we're going to add it to the sub LIs, which means we're not going to add it to the immediate LIs. We're going to add it to the LIs that are within the hierarchy, the sub-hierarchy of the initial LI. So now we got to pick those, and that would be that. This would be the initial. This is the initial LI, and this is going to be the sub LIs. All right, and actually, let's do something more interesting. I could do it that way. Again, there are lots of ways to do this. I'm going to do something a little more interesting. I'm going to pick all the LIs, and if it has a UL, which means that it has a sub-hierarchical menu, let's add class orange border. Okay. There you go. Now, we use add class all the time. That's not the same as using CSS. CSS, now we can pick any particular thing, any particular CSS directive, and manipulate it. So if I were to say, instead of orange border, let's do this, border. And it comes, and you write it kind of like CSS without the colon, just kind of jQuery eyes. But let's do solid 5 pixels, 45 pixels, even better. Love when typos work for me. Let's hit it red. This is going to be nasty. It might shoot off the side of the page. So let's just check this out. Ow! Awesome. Looks like one of those rat mazes. Okay. So you can do any sort of CSS that you want to. Let's make this a little more tame so I can actually see other stuff there. Not only am I going to change the border, but let's change the font color to blue. And let's also make the font size should we make it obnoxious or should we make it kind of demure? Let's try an 8. So it'll be teeny weeny on your screen. You might have to view it out, but you'll see little ant feet walking around here. All right, there you go. Got the red border, got the blue color font, and it's tiny. It's too tiny for me, man. Getting old, so don't want to bring out the reading glasses. There you go. Let's do that. All right. Now, once again, I've used this here, this next directive, change HTML of lib. I've shown you HTML, the method HTML in a previous lesson, but we're going to do it again because it's really that important. Use that one all the time, especially when you're starting to do stuff with Ajax. So let's click. All right, when we click that function, click that link. What I want it to do is, what's the directive here? What are we doing? We're changing HTML of lib, which is this. So I need to get the lib is here, line item B. And we're going to change the HTML to, what do you want it to say? Span style equals, and again, I do this for sake of example, but I highly do not recommend doing inline styling. I would way more recommend you do class styling. So I'm going to just do that right now, and we're going to use a class that we already know and love, which is the orange border. So we're going to put an orange border around this span of text, and the text is going to say, I heart SoCal, because I do heart SoCal. All right, so let's try this. Change HTML of lib, line item B, and let's see what it does. I heart SoCal. All right, now and I mentioned this in the previous lesson as well. It's really important to understand the difference between using text and HTML. And this hopefully will drive it home. Change the HTML of lib, change the text of lia, which you can't see it because it's got but let's clear the orange border. It does not render, text does not render the HTML. It just spits it out as pure plain text. Does not do any rendering whatsoever, which is good for some cases and not so good for others. They work together complementary. Okay, sometimes you just want text up there. Okay, so we've got the misspelled hello world here. And now our next directive is show me the val of text box. Now again, we had previously gone over val, but I'm going to do it again because it is so important in the world of Ajax and jQuery when you need feedback from the web server based upon what the user has typed in. Okay, so it says, show me the val of text box. All right. Well, that text box is, what's the name of text box? The name of text box is IDTB. All right. So $J alert $J pound TB val. Okay. The misspelled hello world. Let's make it happen. Let's see it. There you go, hello world. Again, say your user comes to the site, types some stuff in, hits enter. We know exactly what he's typed in just by doing something as simple as this, using the val method. All right? So, we're knocking them dead. Let's keep going on. Append to the content of li3. Now there's a handy little method called append. Wow, I'm sure you could have guessed that one. And what are we appending to? Oh, li big 3. So that would be here, item 3. Now again, once again, this is useful if you're doing some Ajax stuff and you don't want to get rid of what was previously there before. You just want to append data onto it as kind of once they've hit the submit button or hit any sort of button as, okay, I want item number A, I want item number 25, I want item C4. Okay, so let's append to it. I've lost my cursor. Oh, there it is. What am I going to say? Let's make it something obvious, really huge and obvious. Let's give it an H4 header. So this way it's going to be big, or at least bolded. And we're going to class it out also with an orange border. There you go. You see, here's the line item 3. The original stuff was here. Now we've appended it to line item 3. Because it's an H4, H4 automatically, as part of its default setting, sets it on another line. That's why it doesn't come right on the butt end of line item 3. We can also, there's another append method. It's called append to. Sorry for that little mess up there. It's called append to. And it actually does the same thing as append, except that it's, you know, when you speak English and you have the active method of saying John gets the apple, and then you have a passive method, the apple was gotten by John, it's kind of the same thing. Append is the active method, and append to is the passive method of how you would call it. So what we do is we do a we do this. we're appending this to this here. Okay, so let's try that. Append to. Let's do it to a different line item because I want to make sure that you guys see that I'm actually doing it. It's not just doing some funny smoke and mirrors here. So we've got append content to li3, append stuff to, didn't work on that one. Append to, maybe it's not called div1. I really can't remember. It is called div1. Okay. Just for fun, let's check with Firebug to see if I messed up any kind of grammar. Oh, and I did. $J is not a function. Why is that? Oh. $J is not a function. Let's see. Here dot dollar. Oh, that's why. Ah. All right, here we go. Bam, hit them all. So let's just make it a little more readable, a lot less. Hit all the divs. That's how many divs are on the page. So hit all the divs. Let's just do this div 1 here. There you go. Awesome. Okay? You can also clone. Basically just do a copy and paste. All right? Clone ul3. Get that name for ul3, which is here. And I'm going to clone, I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to paste it to div 2. Okay, so here's what it says. When I click on this link, clone A, I'm going to take the UL, level 3, I'm going to copy it, clone it, and I'm going to paste, append it to div 2. Okay, which is going to be here. So this is doing it. Pretty awesome. I can also do things like manipulating the DOM. There's a handy little function. I'm going to do I want the position. Show me the position of line 3. So line 3, which is this here, item 3. It's called position. Hard to figure out, huh? Actually, just gets the position. What we really want it to, what we need to do now is be a little more specific. Okay. So var p is equal to that. Now we're going to alert it. Because position includes the top, it includes the left and the right, it includes exactly where it is on the page. So it's kind of an array of all those items. So let's do this, p.left plus pixels. And that should give me the left position of item 3. And just because I want to, we're going to give the top position all right, so this is giving me the battleship coordinates of item 3. Let's try it. Show me position of line item 3, which is here. So I would say that's maybe about 300 by 200 maybe? I'm not sure. We'll see how close I am. I feel like Chuck Woolery guessing on Wheel of Fortune here. 138 by 228. I was way off. What did I say? I said 3 by 200? Oh, it's backwards. I'm sorry. I meant 2 by 200. 200 left, because it's doing the left first by 300. So I was off by 100. All right. Moral of that story is don't go on Wheel of Fortune. I should not go on Wheel of Fortune. Okay? Okay, so we can also do stuff like replace the text. Instead of appending, let's replace. So let's do this. Click function. Which one are we doing? We're replacing all the divs with more flowery text. All right, so let's do this. Div replace with more flowery text. Before I try that, let me just check my here. What I really want to do is, because if I do this, if I just do this, it's going to replace everything on the div. And I'm going to let's try it. It's going to trash my entire page because I have a lot of divs on here, okay? Okay, replace divs with more flowery text. That did not work. And it might be because, did I get this name right? Replace. Okay. Oh, it's because the method is wrong. This is replace with. All right, let's trash let's trash my DOM here. Done, because it did every single div on the page. So let's be a little more reasonable about this. I know here really the only divs that I want are these divs here. So I got to be more specific. I got to say I want the divs inside DOM-D. Okay? So let's go here and say DOM in the divs that have the class DOM-D, get me all the divs and replace with. All right, let's be more reasonable. Oh, a little bit better. I'm not trashing my entire DOM, I'm only trashing part of my DOM. And that's because I need to be doing DOM div. Oh, there's another div here. That's why. There's another div there. All right. So I need to go to DOM div and DOM-D div and get the div below that div. let's see this. There we go. Unfortunately, that included all of this too. So again, this is all fun and games, and I would certainly recommend you to try this at home. But make sure you do backups first, because you could end up like that craziness before. All right. Now, not only can we replace stuff with we can replace with that way, just like with append and append to. There's the active and the passive. There is also the active and the passive for replace and replace with, and replace all. So let's copy this. Replace all. More flowery text. Replace all. And that's the passive version. And I don't particularly advocate one or the other. It's just up to you what feels good, what feels more natural to you when you're coding. Okay, so replace all divs with P's. Sorry, I don't want to. I just want to do more flowery text. Oh, let's do this so we know that I'm not giving you some smoke and mirrors. Other flowery text. I'm being real creative now. Okay. And stuff is gone. Dom D, div. Oh. Let's do this. That's why. Because it's actually smart enough to figure out. It's actually smart enough to figure out that you want the top and the open the tag and the close tag and the stuff in the middle. So let's try this. There we go. Once again, kind of a disaster, but at least we know it works. Okay. Now let's show the height of div 3. Now you might be wondering, who cares about the height? Who cares about the position? When you start doing things like moving things around on the screen, or you want to animate some divs on the screen, or animate anything on the screen, you need to know the position, you need to know the height. So let's figure out the height. Sliders are another good example. When you slide, what it really is just a viewport. Your slider is a viewport of one picture, but you have a huge div with all your pictures lined up, and it just moves the position, depending on, it finds out where your position currently is, and then it moves to the next position. Moves the div with all the pictures in it to the next position. So you need to know your position, you need to know how to be able to set it. So what are we doing? Show me the height of div 3. Okay, so alert. J dot div 3 height. There you go. Now the height of div 3 is the line height, like from the top of the font to the bottom of the font. Okay? Show me the left placement of body. Tell me the left placement of body. And again, this is important when you start sliding things across the screen, or when you want to do animations of different elements on your screen. What's that button called? It's called scroll. Alert. There's a perfect example of it right here. Okay, so tell me the left placement of the body. Now, this is important when you do stuff like this, because not everybody has the same screen size. Some people have big monitors, some people have small monitors, some people like to maximize their windows, some people like to minimize their windows, some people like to have a bunch of windows on the screen that they can see. So I can see this, and if I open up another browser, I can see something else at the same time. So where do I, in order to get a real kind of litmus test of where that person is, because I'm still on my page, but where am I along the page? Well, we can use this, tell me where the left placement of body is. All right, the whole body is the entire page there that you're seeing. So now I can know the left placement. And that's not working because I'm missing a parentheses. Let's do this again. There you go, 417. If I scroll back over here, it's going to be 196. If I scroll all the way over, got to be able to hit this, 595. All right. Again, excellent stuff when you need to start manipulating things across your screen, whether you're animating it or just need to know where you're placing stuff. Now remember, when you're manipulating the DOM, all these things change heights and tops and lefts all day long. So if you need to be specific with your interactions in terms of placement, you need to know these things. One last thing, an interesting thing that I use a lot, some kind of weird level. Is a wrap. Wrap div3 with HTML. Div3 is down here. Just to show you where it is on my thing, it's here. With div3 contains that text box. Okay? So div3 is here, where hello world is. Okay? Let's wrap div3 with, what are we going to wrap it with? A span class equals orange border. Now once again, jQuery is smart enough to figure out what a wrap does is says, okay, whatever selector I've just picked, whatever I've just selected, put this before it and this after it. Smart enough to figure that out. I love that. I love it when programs are smart. Let's try it. So it did it. Just a little wanky though, little janky, because the way the divs are set up. Let's see if it'll work better on div 2. Let's clear that. Oop, sorry, I didn't reload it. There you go. Still a little janky. Has something to do with the divs and how it's wrapping. Well, that wraps it up for manipulating the DOM. You are now in a really powerful position with jQuery. You can do a lot of stuff already. We've gone through Ajax a little bit, but we're going to look in depth in one of the upcoming lessons. Man, well, with just what you know, you can already start having some great user interactions with your users. Go out there, explore, go big, get crazy, try it all out. All right, till the next time. Thanks a lot.